Hello and welcome again to In the Springs. I'm your host, Ryan Lowry. Today's episode was recorded at the legendary Loonees Comedy Corner right here in Colorado Springs. My guest today is a Colorado Springs native and a fine stand-up comedian. Mr. Paul Cardozo is in the Springs. So I just wanted to, hang out with you, man. Like I said, I'm just talking to people that are from Colorado Springs or coming through Colorado Springs, and I know that you're kind of a staple here locally in the comedy scene.
Absolutely,
And,
absolutely.
You and I have known each other now for what?
Jeez, I don't know, 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Jeez,
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, and so if you had to say, Mitchell sucks, if you can.
I mean, that's
I'm just
probably
saying,
never going to come out of my lips.
Well, at least Mitchell is still around.
Yeah.
Wasson,
yeah.
not so much.
Wasson, definitely
Not
not.
so
Yeah,
much.
now Wasson's gonzo.
Dude, every school I went to in Colorado Springs doesn't exist anymore.
Well, maybe that should see what's
I
going
know,
on.
what
I
is
mean,
that?
when you were done, they had to close the place.
I
They
know,
were like,
I know.
Lowry left. All right,
Man, oh,
let's
man.
lock the doors.
So are you staying busy with comedy? Are you getting up on
You know
stage?
what? Yeah, I don't travel as much as I used to. I still get up on stage here a lot, between here, a little bit of Denver.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, in the Springs is good. There's enough to go around for sure. And
Yeah.
I like I just love telling jokes here. I
Yeah.
started in this room, so I mean, you know what can I say, man? I'm hooked. Can't leave.
And that was actually the question that I had for you, and I don't mean this in like a cynical way, but why do you do it? Why do you keep doing comedy?
You know what? Because I love to tell jokes, man. I just love to be just funny. I love to be able to, I love to see the reaction of people's faces when I come up with something, or I say something, or I do whatever, or something. It's just that reaction that I get, even if it's the smallest little deal. If I know I got you, then you know what? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's what I do. And stand-up is just, it's the funnest job I've ever had. I mean, it's the most challenging job I've ever had. It's
Yeah.
everything, man. It's so much fun. And I mean, when I was a kid, I knew I wanted to do stand-up, but I was always like, I'm not like those guys, man. There's
Yeah.
people on TV and
Now,
whatever.
were
I'm
you
like,
the class clown in school?
I
Is that-
was
yeah.
a little bit of a clown. I wasn't always the class clown. I
Right,
kind
right.
of, pick and choose
Yeah.
my
Work on your
windows.
timing.
I had to work on my timing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
I'm like, no, that wasn't the time to do that. But
Yeah.
when I did, I usually I made them laugh. So it was fun. I mean, even when I was a kid, just growing up with my family, I had such a big family.
Yeah.
And it's either like make your older brother and your older cousins laugh, or you're gonna get beat down. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like, hey, did you guys hear the one about the guy? And they're like, oh man, that's hilarious. And I'm like, whew.
So that was the defense mechanism?
Exactly,
Like,
that's it. I was like,
yeah.
man.
Dude, and that was how I
break the
survived
record.
high school too. It was the exact same thing where I would
Right.
get in a class, and back in the 80s when I was in high school,
Right.
if there was like the Cholo guys or, whatever it was, the guys that you were just scared of because...
You did have solos at Wasson too, by the way.
Dude, I know, and the only way I could relate is if I was just cracking wise and they were like laughing. It's like, all right, they're not going to kill me. They're not. I know that.
exactly.
We're
They're not
cool.
gonna kill me.
And if I saw them out on a Saturday night, they punch you in the arm, say what's up or whatever, and that's
Right.
the only way that
Right.
I survived. Because clearly, I'm not
Yeah.
a fighter. It is not.
Come on, man.
I
You
know.
look like you're a martial artist. Jesus,
Camera
look
adds
at
10
you, man.
pounds,
It does. It
Yeah.
does. Man, I better suck it in. Sit up a little straighter.
Nice, man. So now, as far as like doing comedy, because the first time that I worked with you, I was the MC. I think you were feature, and my
Yeah.
impression definitely was, you are so comfortable on stage. Is that something that comes natural to you, or has it just been over your career that, doing banter with the audience, all of those things that I couldn't and can't do?
Right.
You just
right.
have that stage presence that's always relaxed.
You know what? I think that's what you have to do. I think if you go on the stage and you look uptight, everybody in the room knows it
Yeah.
because all eyes are on you. But if you're relaxed, people are relaxed, and you go up and you have fun. That's the deal. It's
Right,
hard
right.
to have fun when you're really uptight and you're nervous.
Yeah.
But when you're relaxed and you're just ready to go, have fun. Let's see where this one goes.
Yeah.
That type of attitude. And I think I learned that from comics that I grew up watching and guys that I watched in this room, that would come through and.
So who was influential to you, not only here at Loonees, but on TV? The Richard
man,
Pryors, that kind of thing.
exactly. Loved Pryor.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. I don't know if you can do this business without respecting what he did.
Right,
Because
right.
he's the one that was able to take that, being comfortable on stage and talk about things that maybe not very comfortable to say.
Yeah.
And he was able to do that and get laughs and do things. Cosby was the same way. Sinbad, loved Sinbad.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, loved
He
Carlin.
was out of Denver, right?
Yeah, you know
based out
what?
of Denver for a while?
He was, yep,
Okay.
exactly. Went to the prep school at the Air Force Academy, man.
No kidding.
You know, yeah, he was recruited by Popovich.
No way.
That's what Fonseca told me. Yeah, I didn't know that until I was talking with Fonseca. He told me that, but I didn't know that. Yeah,
Really?
when Popovich was coaching at Air Force, he was. But,
That's crazy.
Yeah, but those guys, you know, they were the ones that came through this room and seeing as Colorado Springs, even for years now, has always been a good place to see stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, because from when it originated, when I was a kid, you remember, you know, we'd be able to watch Almost Live.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
After Saturday Night Live, and it was just all the local comics that got a chance to come through the Springs and get a tape.
Yep.
and be able to do that, so everybody came to the Springs, and I
Yeah.
got to just, you know, I mean, we got to watch all the, you know, the best comics that are out there
Yeah.
now when they were just coming up.
And you know
so-
what's amazing, and I kind of flashed on this as this project started to develop, is this club, in one
Right.
form or another, has been in this town, I want to say for 30 years. I don't know if anybody can verify.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
And
Yeah.
dude, if you think of how many restaurants and bars and have come and gone in this town,
Exactly.
but somehow this has remained through all of it. You know,
Exactly.
through the internet and, you know, all the distraction, seeing a live comedy show somehow has survived. And I think that really is important.
I
you know?
agree. I agree. I think it's, you know, it's an art form that that people are always, you know, if you're a good stand-up and you go to a good stand-up show, you're always going to be entertained. You know,
Yeah.
you can go to a concert and maybe they didn't do it as well as you did or whatever, or as well as you liked or something, or something along that type of deal, I guess. But with stand-up, you know, man, you know, it's just good. Everyone loves to laugh.
Yeah.
They can just have fun and laugh, and the group is with it. They
Right.
feel like they're with you. That's why I love to do that. I think
Yeah.
I've always done that when I was starting out. Some comics would tell me, don't do that. You know what? You don't have material if you're messing around in the crowd. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, that's where...
That's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. That's
Yeah.
where you can
And you're
find
good
great
at it.
stuff.
You're
you
fast
know?
enough to do that. If I attempted that,
Right.
I would just...
And we've all seen
Yeah,
that.
just crash and burn.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, it's not without, you know,
Yeah.
worry, because I mean, you know, you're...
So when you
You
first
know-
started out, were you writing out bits and
Absolutely.
writing out a set list
Absolutely.
and having it pretty well
I was
mapped
so
out?
just like, I have to be able to know what goes first, what goes next.
Now, going
you
back
know.
to the very first time you got on stage as a stand-up comedian, do you remember that?
I do. Would
you like to do?
I do. I was actually, I did it for a family reunion. We had a family reunion out here. in
That's
the
no
Springs.
fair, dude.
You know what?
It's family.
I know. But I was like, you know what? Yeah, I mean, my family, no, yeah.
bunch
They'd
of
have
balls.
roasted me. Yeah, if I wasn't funny, they probably would have threw stuff at me. There's no
Yeah.
doubt. My family, yeah, they did shoes, bullets. They had to throw it all at me. But you know what? I sat there and I was like, all right, I'm going to try this out and see if I can do it in front of these guys. I was making people laugh in school.
And how old were you
And,
when you did it?
I was 17.
Yeah,
Yep. I just turned 18.
okay.
Yeah. And it was crazy nerve-wracking. You know, I'm like, man, you know, I'm telling jokes to aunts and uncles and cousins, but I mean,
Yeah.
I got a big family, so there's like 65 people in this room.
Right.
But they're all rooting for me, but I know if I'm not funny, you know, they're gonna let me have it.
Yeah.
So
And so
was the first one.
was that enough to make you realize that this is going to be part of my life? Getting up in front of people and telling jokes is something I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, you know what? I guess it was like that. But I knew I wanted to keep doing it. I knew that there was an open mic here.
Yeah.
And so I came to the first open mic, man, and there was like 3 people here, and that was it. It was one day, and then they stopped doing it.
No kidding.
And I'm like, I got to go one day?
Yeah.
Come on, man. So I ended up getting a job as a doorman here, and just got to, you know, sit back and watch comedy
Yeah.
and see how they did it. And I knew, you know, I wanted to be funny like that, so I just watched as much as I could, asked the right questions, and when I got the nerve, I just went up and said, all right, there goes nothing.
And so got a guest set? Or?
And it was just an open mic.
Okay.
Sunday nights I used to do like open mic night, so I got my 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And, you know, I remember the bartender, Joey, that had been here for so many years, saying, you know, man, if they give you 5 minutes, have 7 minutes of material.
Right,
Have
right.
enough so that, you know, it looks, you know, you do your thing and act like you've been there before.
Right.
You know, work the room, work the crowd. And then,
Yeah.
you know, all the other comics were like, nah, man, just do your stuff, blah, blah, get off the stage. And I was just like, I'm going to do what Joey says. You know, the guy watches it every night. I mean, he's hilarious.
Absolutely.
He's a funny dude. But, you know, a lot of comics, he was the guy that they hung out with. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to listen to what he's got to say. And I'm going to do what he did or what he says to do. And I went up and, man, I hit a home run. And I was like, that's it.
That's great.
That's it.
You know, the one thing that I've noticed about stand-up comedy is it's the one art form, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is my idea. It's the one art form that you can't rehearse for.
Right.
You have to get up on stage in front of strangers to practice your craft.
That's exactly
Guitar player, actor, painter, you can do that behind the scenes to get good.
Right,
To get good, you have to stand right here to get good.
That's exactly right, right? I mean, I totally agree. It's hard to do jokes in front of, in the mirror because you're like,
your
you know
cat
what?
may think you're hilarious.
Exactly. Cat's like, meow, meow, which means you're killing me, Oh, this guy's great. But you're right. You have to be able to, you have to have that interaction. I mean, you have to know where you stand. How does that joke work? And then you know what, you have to do it over. There's a lot of guys that you've seen, comics, that have the same act for years. It's a great act, and they don't change it because they know it works every single night. And there's some comics that are like, you know what, I have to be different every night, and you do that. And I just kind of like to, you know, in the beginning I was always, it's got to be structured like that. But as I've gotten better at my craft, I realize that, you know, every single crowd is different, and not every joke is going to work every night. So you got to be able to get the crowd. You got to be able to hook them. That's the deal. And I think that's what all the great ones have been able to do.
And so you switch it up quite a bit, night to night, show to show.
I try to, you know, I try to. I try to
have that base.
Yeah, you know, I know that there's some things that I can definitely do that's, you know, some go-tos, exactly. But I do try to find something. I find myself sometimes walking on the stage and I'm like, I have no idea, but it's either going to work or it's not.
That just turns my stomach.
I tell you what, it's crazy. Sometimes I kick myself because I'm like, man, I shouldn't really be doing this, but you know, I think you got to find a way to make it work.
And you're raising a family, and you know, like many working comics, you've got other jobs, other forms of income. You're racing into the club with a million things on your mind, and then in about an hour, you got to get up on stage and tell jokes. And so just to kind of keep your head straight and to prepare for something like that, I think, you know, for the amount of experience that you have, you're in a position, if the phone rings and somebody said, hey, we need you to do a show tonight, all right, I can do that. You know, you're ready to go. And
ready to go, exactly. You got to be able to do that. That's where, that's where that, having that solid act comes in, because, you know, it's got to be ready to go at a moment's notice. And so, you know, all right, I've got 30 minutes, I can do it, boom. But you also know at the same time, you know, when you've got like some time, and maybe if it's, like I said, if it's an open mic, or if it's a 30-minute set, and you know what, you've got things running around in your mind. On the way here, I'm thinking of something that just makes me laugh, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go for that tonight and see what I can do. And that confidence it's definitely, I think it's in me, but you got to kind of pull it out. You know, you got to kind of reach for it and see, am I capable of doing that? And
now, do you ever envision a time of stepping away entirely from doing comedy?
You know, yeah, just about every time I have a bad set, I'm like, that's it. No more jokes. Yep, that's it. Finito. Yep, I will never grab a microphone again. And they could call me 5 minutes later. Hey, man, can you do the late show? And I'm like, I can do the late show.
Yeah, we got a one-nighter in Callahan. I'm in.
I'm in. Let's go. Exactly. Those cows are going to love me again.
Well, I know we're running out of time, but I've got the kind of my go-to question when I talk to guys. What is one of the most memorable, horrible nights? Whether it was an activity in the crowd, a heckler, the location.
Horrible night.
Yeah, something off the top of your head you can think of where it was like, oh my God, this is happening.
Yeah, I was working Omaha.
Enough said.
I
love your
Omaha. Exactly. Omaha's beautiful.
Yeah.
Don't get upset, Omaha. Peyton Manning says it all the time.
Got a lot of subscribers in Omaha.
Exactly. Right. But I had to do a show in Omaha, and on the way back, the booker called and said, I've got a one-nighter. If you drive down to Salina, Kansas, it's a one-nighter. It was like, 30 minutes, $300. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Absolutely.
Done.
Yeah, I got babies to feed, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, done deal. And I walk into this place, and it's probably I don't know, maybe 130 bikers. I'm dressed like MC Hammer. Like this.
What's up, man?
Yeah, what's going on, yo? I got the hair tilted to the side. I'm like, what? I'm rocking the Gumby in a biker bar. And it was, I mean, they
Rocking
literally
the Gumby?
I was rocking the Gumby. Yeah, man. So I walk in and everybody's just like, it's like the 48 hours thing where the music stops and everybody's looking at me and I'm like, man, this is gonna be brutal. And you know, it was definitely nerve-wracking. I was so uptight, but I knew I gotta make $300.
Right,
I
right.
have to do this. This is gonna pay some bills. So guess what? You know.
And how did it go?
It was. You know what? It was actually good. The first
Yeah.
thing I did, I walked on the stage and I was like, I didn't expect you guys either. You know, and
That's
the room
great,
fell
man.
out. They were like laughing. They're like, bam. And I think that's maybe where I started to kind of learn.
Right.
I got to just go off the cuff here and I got to play with these guys
Yeah.
because my act is one thing, but it's not going to go here.
Yeah.
So I got to go with this deal. And I mean, I played it like crazy.
Oh,
You know,
good
my
for
cousins
you,
are in
man.
the car. They got pistols. You know, and I know what's up, man. If I'm going out, there's a couple coming with me. So
Guns
point out
blazing.
who you don't like. You know, I'll shoot at them first.
Oh, man, that's
But
great.
you know, it was definitely nerve-wracking. But it ended up being a somewhat decent night. So.
Paul,
yeah,
man,
it's
it is a
crazy.
pleasure, dude.
Man, it was
It's been
fun,
so
man. Thanks
long,
for having me.
I
I
appreciate
know,
you coming
man.
down and hanging out.
You
for
need
a
to
bit.
get back on the stage a little bit, man.
This is
Crack
it.
some
I'm
jokes
on
for
it.
a little bit.
I'm on it.
Come on, man.
All right. All right, that's it.
Tonight, that's it. We're done.
That's it. We're done. Get the hell out
All right,
of
I'm
here.
out of here. See you
See
later.
you.